Hey everyone, welcome to another top 10 list. This week's top 10 list is going to be the top 10 obsolete notes I have in my collection. Now, I wanted to do this because something tells me in the near future I'm going to be getting more and more obsolete currency. So I figured if I do a top 10 list of what I've got now, then as I get newer bills, I'll have a top 10 list to upgrade in the future. And you'll get to see, of course, all those upgrades as I get them. But for now, I did have, you know, a few obsoletes. So I decided why not do a top 10 list showing what I've got now. So let's take a peek at what I have. We're going to start off with an honorable mention. And the honorable mention technically isn't an obsolete note. This would be known as a script. And a script is notes that were put out not by a bank, but by a company or something to that effect, a school or a business or something. And this says here, it says Mechanics Savings and Loan. So yeah, maybe it was a bank. I found it a little difficult to find this particular note if I remember correctly, but I always thought it was cool. This is dated August 4th, right there, 1862. And it does have a really deep, dark signature. You can see the serial number 1072. That's what it looks like. Or maybe it's 1092. It does have a hole punch here or something there to show that it's missing. But I like this, and I call this one my uh, what did I say it was? Honorable mention because of the back. This actually was made from two other notes that were recycled essentially. There's a $3 from the Merchants Bank and a $5. So, with it being $5 on this side and $5 and $3, what is this? A $13 bill? I always found this one amusing, so that's my honorable mention. All right. Number 10. Number 10, I'm going with my $20 Canal Bank. Now, Canal Bank put out, Canal has a lot of notes in circulation. And when I say that, that's mainly because the vast majority of Canal Bank's notes are remainder notes. They were never issued. You can see here there is no signatures on either side. There is no serial number. It's not dated. You can see it's not dated there. So, but you can find these notes everywhere. These are very common, and that's why I wanted to bring this one out, just so I could mention to everybody how common these particular ones are. So don't pay a fortune for a Canal Bank note because a lot of the remainders still exist. Now, when I say remainder notes, I mean, the back of this is really cool too. Look at how bright red that is. When I say remainder notes, it means that once the bank stopped functioning, these notes were left over. They were never issued. So because they were unissued, they never circulated. Therefore, when you find these notes, they should be in really good condition. So if you find one that's rough, I'd pass because there are so many of them that aren't. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, that's number 10, the Canal Bank $20 note. Number 10. Number 9. Here's a state issued note. This one is from the state of North Carolina. It has a really cool ship in the center there. It's a 50-cent note, so that's cool. Fractional currency. Not in the greatest of shape. This one is paper thin, and it is hand signed, so that's cool as well. You can see the 27th, or 27. Is that? Yeah, that's 27. It's not a date. That's like serial number 27. That's cool. Here's the date, January 1st, 1866, for the state of North Carolina 50-cent note. Nothing on the back there. Let you get to see a little bit of the condition and how thin they are. So, state of North Carolina 50-cent fractional. That one's pretty cool. That's number 9 on the list. Number 8. Sometimes the fractionals become fractionals of fractionals. 6.25 cents from the Manual Labor Bank and Capital, from Philadelphia banknotes is what it says on there. You can see it is hand signed here. I'm trying to make out. There was $500,000 put out to back all the notes, and this note is 6.25 cents. Now, yeah, here's the signing and the serial numbers in the bottom. June 18. I believe that's it. It looks like 37, but that can't possibly be 37. It's got to be 1870 something, right? Yeah, I can't quite make it out. Maybe it is 37. I don't know. Some of these are very difficult to find. Anyway, you can see the condition on this one is pretty rough. Now, for those of you wondering why it's 6.25 cents, well, double it. Because if you double it, you then have 12.5 cents. And if you double it again, you have a quarter. So it's a quarter of a quarter, quarter of a quarter. That's how that came out. Right there it says 6.25 cents. Yeah. We think pennies aren't worth anything. Here, how much is a quarter of a cent worth? Anyway, that's number 8. Number 7. Number 7 is my $3 bill from the Tiverton Bank. Now, this particular note, I have heard all kinds of stories about the Tiverton Bank, and apparently the Tiverton Bank closed, but the banknotes were intentionally spent anyway. That was one of the problems with obsolete banknotes. The further you got from the actual location of where the bank was, the harder it was to determine if the bank was still around. And if I remember, there was a huge fraud with the Tiverton Bank. And what happened was the bank had shut down, and someone knew that the bank had shut down and got a hold of all the bills anyway and decided they were going to spend it because nobody knew that the bank wasn't there. So there was a huge con job. If you look in the back, it's got, check out the boat there. You can see the giant paddle wheel, the steamship there. And if we go on this side, is that train dead center and the shield? Might be. And what's on this side here? Oh, there's a train right there. Yeah, you can see the train here. So a really cool note, $3 note, one of the first $3 notes I ever bought, and just a neat story behind it with the, I can't say counterfeiting because it wasn't counterfeit, but the intentional spending of a note that no longer was any good. Looking at the back, you can see how it has the overprint, and even on this note, you can see the overprint coming through. So that's always fascinating. A lot of the obsolete notes have that, where the overprint comes through. I just find that really neat. Anyway, that one is number 6. 10, 9, 8, 10, 9, 8, 7. Nope, that's number 7. This one's number 6. I put it as number 6 because it's 6. It's a $6 note from the People's Bank of Paterson. People's Bank of Paterson, I mean, just having a weird amount like that, Paterson, state of New Jersey is where it's got right there. This one is a remainder, and it's barely a remainder. This is what's remaining of the remainder. No signatures, no date, so yes, definitely a remainder, but clearly in a fire. I wish I could tell you more about the fire. I don't know if this was a fire at the bank or just a collector who had their stuff go up in flames, but I do know it's a $6 note with a cow. So it's a weird amount with a weird item on it, and I'm just kind of like, I thought it was neat, and for the price, I had to get it. That one is number 6, the $6 bank from the People's Bank of Paterson with the cow. Number 5, also adding to my $3 bill collection, Somerset and Somerset and of course everybody can pronounce that, Worcester Savings Bank $3 bill. This one's in really nice shape. I love the bright green on here, how that stands out. Some of the vignettes on here are pretty cool. I mean, that's just cool. And of course, as I zoom in, you can see the only bad part about this note right here. It looks like a slight little tear, but the vignettes and the designs, really neat. It's November 1862. You can see the 2 signatures on there. And look at the back, how deep green that is. Just a really cool back on there. Does that say $3? Is that what I paid for this note? Or no, it's a $3 bill. They were asking $24 on the note. That's what that is. So yeah, sometimes you can find really neat notes like this at a really cool price. 20 is my choke point for stuff that I don't know, and I think this is worth every bit of that. That's number 5. Number 4. Well, I did it with my $6 bill. I'm going to bring out a $4 bill for number 4. This one is the Bank, let's see here, Bank of the State of South Carolina. It's a $4 note. This $4 note is really neat. The fort that's in here is Fort Moultrie, if I remember correctly. And Fort Moultrie defended, I should say, Charleston, South Carolina from the British at the onset of the Revolutionary War. So, a huge, important fort on this particular note. The Bank of the State of South Carolina, $4. Just a cool looking note. It does have a cancellation on the back, which is cool. And once again, you can see the overprint on there. This particular one you can also see is canceled like that. A lot of the notes you're going to find, a lot of obsoletes have the cancellation marks like that. This one has the stamp as well as the cancellations. But yeah, once they were redeemed, that's how they would cancel them so that they knew that they had been redeemed. This one's a fairly low number too. This is number, looks like it's supposed to be like is that 351? I don't think it's 311. I think it's 351. Anyway, that one is number 4. Number 3. This is my Stonington Bank from the state of Connecticut. $10 Stonington Bank. This is also a remainder note. You can see no signatures, no date, no signature, no serial number. The Stonington Bank $10 note. Take a peek at the back. There's nothing listed on the back there. Very thin. You can see right through it. But the cool part, a lot of people are going to think the cool part of the two ladies that make up the giant X in the center. But the cool part is actually this whaling vignette. We don't think about that, but off the coast of Connecticut at this time, that's what was going on. Before we were hooked on black gold, we used whale oil to light lamps and everything else. That was the oil of the sea. So yeah, there was a lot of whaling going on. And that's one of the cool things about obsolete notes is the vignettes that they use are of the time. This was very common back then. And now we're shocked, but back then, no, that was just what was going on. So yeah, my $10 Stonington Bank remainder note, really cool note, really cool vignette. That one is number 3. Number 2, I've got a pair of notes. Both of these are from the State Bank of Michigan out of Detroit. I've got the $1 and I've got the $2. I also have the full sheet, which has a 3 and a 5 on it as well. And these were interesting. These are both remainder notes as well. We'll take a peek at this one first. This was actually more of a certificate than it was currency. This one was never issued, but you can see here how it's got the descriptions, and I can try to zoom in there as tight as I can. And it's talking about different sizes of the bill being worth different amounts. And the reason for that is because you were supposed to basically cut the note right here. And this was the receipt for the note. They put the serial number here and here. So when you could get the essential coupon, I guess you could say, for this note, and then you could then redeem it and they'd match the numbers to make sure that it was correct. You can see, yeah, 1/3. So the dollar was 1/3. So this is 1/3 of the note. For the $2 bill, which has the Indian hunting the bison, that's pretty neat there too. It would be half. And let's see if we can try to make this out. Anyway, each of these tells you exactly how far you'd have to go for the $1, the $2, the $3, and the $5. Really cool vignette. The bright red makes this stand out. It's such a cool note. I had to go out and not only get the 1, the 2, instead of buying the 3 and the 5, I just decided to get the whole sheet. So these always were near and dear to my heart. That is number 2. And finally, number 1 this week. This is from New Orleans, Louisiana, a $10 Citizens Bank of Louisiana note from the 1860s. This is what everybody was trying to get. It's a remainder note. It is not signed. It is not dated. All of the ships would travel down the Mississippi River with all their goods down to New Orleans, Louisiana, and they were trying to trade their goods for these notes here. And these have the word DIX on the back, which is French for 10. And since most of us don't speak French, most of the people that were traveling up and down on them boats looking for these notes didn't know that this was 10, or if they did, they didn't care. But they did give these notes a nickname. They called these notes Dixies because it says DIX on the back. So this was known as a Dixie. And the important part about that is, well, where do you go to find Dixies? You go to Dixieland. Yes, this is the reason the South is called Dixieland. Everybody was trying to get to Dixieland to get Dixies. When you hear a story like that, you have to get the note. These are kind of pricey, but I heard the story. I went out and got it. I'm proud of it. Had to have it. Anyway, that concludes my top 10 list of obsoletes. If you learned anything new, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. Love reading all your comments. Guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.